picking up this episode with Joe being missing in action and Ashlee over here asking ChatGPT about what to do. Okay, let's get into episode 3. Who's really addicted to the Valium?
ChatGPT replies, "This is not a great sign behavior-wise, but it's also not automatically a relationship crisis. This is a moment that matters," with an emphasis on moment. And it goes on to say, "What happened? You had a heated argument. He left, but didn't fully leave. Suitcase is still there. Doesn't equal abandoning the trip. It's been approximately 2.5 hours with no contact. What it probably feels like to you, emphasis included. Disrespectful, abandonment / punishment, anxiety. What is he doing? Where is he? Why no text?" Okay, and then what's also telling is the history to the side. It says, "And Joe got into a heated argument last night. I'm currently at the beach. I kind of don't want to text him because something better to text. I didn't text. I walked back to the room." And then there was an H. "I explained that last night. He likes to argue facts, but facts can be on..." And then it ends. We don't get none of the follow-up from ChatGPT from those responses or the history or anything. We just get those questions or those statements in the corner, which is interesting. So April 7th, 2026, Ashlee allegedly texts her mom and says she took a large amount of Joe's Valium. This is what Joe reports, of course. We don't have the text message from Ashlee to Yolanda, even though Joe had her phone and has access to her phone, which is interesting. Nonetheless, let's continue. Joe says he's asleep, but, quote, "Awoke around 3 a.m. in the morning. I saw her mother's text to me," end of quote. Okay, the time is a bit confusing because he says 3 a.m. local time, meaning South New Jersey time, not Zanzibar time, which would make it 10 a.m. East Africa time. His reply is at 10:10 East Africa time or 3:10 a.m. as shown in the picture provided. Why does Joe wait 7 hours and 14 minutes to reply to Yolanda Evans when Ashlee is supposedly hurting herself? That's very strange. Is this a test run, allegedly, to see how her parents would react to her being hurt? Will they rush to call the police if she's hurt? If they don't hear from me? Allegedly again. Where are the text messages to Yolanda from Ashlee saying that she took the Valium? Why is Joe taking Valium? Since his vasectomy was before in January, and Valium is definitely not prescribed for long-term use, I'll explain that a little bit later. Could they have been taking the drug recreationally? This would explain Joe being disorientated and giving the wrong time of day. Of course, he could be jet lagged, he could be tired, but he is really having a whole conversation, and then he says something else that's really interesting. Let's continue. April 7th, 2026, at 3 a.m., Joe continues, quote, "Ashlee had contacted her mother and told her that she had took a large dose of my medicine. When I woke up, I sprung into action to ensure that Ashlee was okay, repeatedly updating her mother with status, including her vitals, and even buying her a refundable ticket back to Philadelphia on JetBlue. I'm not a doctor nor a first responder, but I stayed up all morning to ensure she was okay." So, why didn't he alert the doctors or anyone else that Ashlee had taken this medication? Where is the proof that she had taken the medication willingly and they weren't partying? I even looked up if a person could have taken the medicine unwillingly, like could he have drugged her with it? And, quote, "In a small study, we have revealed that 9 sedating medicinal drugs, Valium being one, dissolved to a variable degree in water, Coca-Cola, beer, and 12% alcohol. If added in sufficient amounts to a beverage, they could probably cause impairment or incapacitation. All the drugs cause altered appearances of the beverages, and most of the drugs change the taste of the original beverage. The possibility of detecting a drink spiked with any of the 9 tablets tested was considerably high. Again, Valiums were of that group because I wanted to make sure, she wasn't drugged and because if she didn't taste it, she could have been drugged. But if it tastes bad, then it leans more to a recreational use. So again, did the ME, the medical examiner, did they test for Valium during the autopsies? Because she's had 2 autopsies or maybe 3 autopsies. She had 1 autopsy at the first hospital. She was flown to another hospital. This is all in Africa. She had a 2nd autopsy. And then when she got back to the States, she had a 3rd autopsy independently requested by the family. Could they have been partying and mixing the Valium and alcohol? And then she may have OD'd and he panicked and strung her up like she was hanging herself to cover himself, allegedly. Could this account for no struggle or defense marks if she was too drugged to put up a struggle? If they were mixing alcohol and Valium, wouldn't that further decrease her alertedness? And also, when you Google how the Valium being mixed with alcohol actually makes the person taking it erratic and also suicidal. Like, that is insane. So them partying could have literally led to her being suicidal. But we're going to talk about that a little later. Don't get ahead of myself. So let's go back. Jo mentions that she could have, quote, embellished the truth on how many doses of my medication she took, but I'm operating as if she's being honest. Then Yolanda replies, I hope she did embellish. Jo does something pretty interesting at this point to me. He continues to reinforce that, quote, her behavior is similar to what I experienced when we were on our snowboarding trip a few weeks ago. Something minor between us set her off and got her to the point where sharing things with me I was unaware of as her prior suicide attempts when she was a teenager that I'm taking very seriously, and I didn't know she had this behavior pattern. Now, what's interesting is that Ashlee's parents never stated that she was suicidal. Even when Jo made this direct claim, Yolanda did not respond to it. We don't have the record. If one did respond, we don't have, those records could have been altered. Do we have the subpoenaed copies, the unaltered ones? No. Is it possible that Ashlee felt this way but never told anyone ever in her life, and then all of a sudden felt safe to tell Jo? That's a possibility. Again, strange. Keep in mind also that Ashlee and Yolanda were having their own private conversations that we don't know about. And if Jo had access to that phone, of course, he could have read that. We don't know. Yolanda only states that they, quote, need to get through these next couple of days, get back to the States, and then we need to discuss a visit, possibly an extended one for her and one for you as well, end of quote. Jo continues, quote, I'm not suggesting I'm a saint here. You know that arguments happen between couples. It's the level of rage and violent screaming in public that is new to me for her. I believe her lashing out was consuming my medicine. She needs her family and needed her family for a few months. Before we came here, we agreed she was going to Philly to visit. So yes, I fully agree with you. So my question is, why are they in Bend, Oregon? Why was she not sent to Philly? Like, that literally is a very easy solution. Or, again, they're partying and he's realizing that she's not handling this medicine, this drug combination, Valium and alcohol, too well. And it just, again, why is Jo still taking Valium? That's just crazy. So we're going to talk about that, but keep it in mind. Because Jo states something strange. This is at, again, on April 7th, 2026. This is at 6:43 p.m. Jo states something very strange. He tells Yolanda that she's awake. It's just 4:45 a.m. for reference. Now, of course, he could have made a mistake, but the timestamp shows the military time that East Africa uses, which converted to is 6:43 p.m. And naturally, she'd be awake unless she was jet lagged, or maybe she was taking a nap or getting ready for dinner. But why lie about the time Like it is after sunset or at 6:43 p.m. Could Joe have been confused? And why was Joe confused? Joe continues, quote, I'm confident she embellished the truth of what she took for a dramatic effect, but her vitals are fine. She is resting in bed, but I saw her open her eyes and move around a bit, so all is well. I'll keep monitoring her and keep you posted. So how can he be so certain that she embellished what she took? And to state, quote, for dramatic effect, end of quote, is very dismissive of her attempting suicide. That is not cool and super strange. And it suggests that either he knew that how many she actually took, or he doesn't see her cries for help as authentic and valid, which is scary. So Joe continues, she finally woke up and I informed her I spoke with her mother and bought a refundable ticket to Philly as an option to head home to see her family. Ashlee became livid, claiming I was trying to, quote, get rid of her, end of quote. I explained I was only trying to help her as well as what her mother was requesting and that she didn't have to go, nor was I getting rid of her. I simply was trying to help. As Ashlee got more upset, I decided to head to the restaurant to get some coffee as I was exhausted from being up all night. She went back to ChatGPT for guidance. Where are the records independent of Joe to verify this? Imagine you and your partner fight only to find out after they disappeared the previous day that he had spoken to your mother and then booked you a flight home. Isn't that weird? Could an online search on the effects of mixing Valium and alcohol explain Ashlee's behavior? Yes, it could. Because when you look, it says, commonly abused in combination with alcohol and opiates, a practice that increases the likelihood of a medical emergencies and overdose deaths. Drinking alcohol while using Valium can synergize the toxication of both, which means they amplify each other's effects to potentially dangerous extremes. Taking these substances together can result in a profound central nervous system depression and overdose. If you overdose, you may experience dangerous and life-threatening effects such as marked or excessive drowsiness, confusion, disorientation, memory loss, slowed heartbeats, loss of consciousness, respiratory depression, meaning shallow breaths that prevent your body from adequate oxygen exchange. And when prolonged, it can result in brain damage and death. Doesn't this behavior sound oddly like what Joe is describing of Ashlee? Does the fight explain why Ashlee had removed her ring and placed it in the safe? Or maybe due to its size, they opted to leave it in the safe so they would be safe and not draw attention to them? But then, of course, why would we have him saying that she never took the ring off and she had the ring on in every other picture and gave us examples of the ring being on in the pictures? Okay, so April 8th, 2026, safe picture number 21 at 6:02 East Africa time, which is in the morning. Joe provides this as proof Ashlee was frustrated she couldn't open the safe to retrieve her ring. Issues with this picture: if Joe is attempting to show that this is the time right before sunset, then why is it 12 hours too early? Picture 12 is a time step at 6:02 a.m. Zanzibar sits very close to the equator, so the sunsets are at the same time every day of the year. And that time is at 6:24 p.m. or 18:24 because they don't use AM PM like I said here we do in the West. The time given in the photo was taken not at sunset, but it shows that the picture was taken in the morning. And he texted who we presume is Ashlee from 6:02 to 6:28, which again fits if he were trying to make it seem as so they could take the picture before sunset. These are very relevant questions when the tone being set is one that she was frustrated and upset and that she couldn't get her ring out of the safe. A ring he said that she would never take off once she got engaged. but then provides a timestamp picture that is 12 hours the wrong time. And why is there no reply from Ashlee? So all of this, I wonder, is done to establish an alibi. What are the texts showing that the engagement is off? Why is the ring in the safe? He's already reassured her twice at this point that they can still have babies. Are we trying to set it up to be doing that again? Based on having to get the ring from the safe, would it indicate that they barely had time to snap what would be their, quote, last photos of them, end of quote? And this is together at sunset. Wouldn't running out of time explain her frustrations? Especially since she never took it off, we're talking about the ring, and for whatever reason it's off now, and now she's having to rush to get it to try to take this picture. Very interesting questions, and seems like there's a lot of manipulation of behavior, allegedly. So it's 6:28 East Africa time. Joe sets the time as before sunset, picture 21. He texts who he presumes is Ashlee, "Where are you?" We don't know what, if any, was the response. Just the one-sided conversation, allegedly, with Ashlee. Joe says that he has, and we know Joe says that he has Ashlee's cell phone passwords.